Hello guys, good afternoon. So today we will tackle up chapter 18 to 20. So the topic will merely focus on quality. So again, I'm your lecturer for today. You can verify my credentials at www.purdue.edu/directory. You can input my name and all details will be given to you. I'm a registered nurse. At the same time, both DOH licensed RN and DHA licensed RN and CRCST under ISHAMS, RPO and OSH General Industry Officer. So regarding quality assurance, in CSSD, quality assurance are very important because we are delivering services through instruments, through sterile instruments. So every services in hospital, in medical center or clinic, it may affect the delivery of those services if ever the quality of items being issued or being provided by CSSD is already compromised. So to deliver safe product to the patient for safety delivery of services, degree of excellence of product or service, comprehensive and measured effort to provide total quality. So that's for quality assurance. So one of the approach in quality assurance is to empower its staff. So actually, for quality assurance, it will start with administrative and healthcare quality staff. For administrative, head of the departments and quality officer, they will guide each staff of every department to what is the protocols and procedures. And the healthcare quality staff, which is your CSST technician, nurses, midwives, and other healthcare professionals, will be the one delivering the quality. So it's up to them if they will follow or not. But we are encouraging them to follow what is the guidelines, what is the protocol. So head of this department and quality will guide and monitor the processes and systems. So that's with our policies and protocols. So, and the healthcare quality staff delivers the quality. But we need to remember that quality is everyone's responsibility. Even your utility staff, or a driver, or a receptionist, you are a physician, a medical director, quality is everyone's responsibility. So the main goal of quality is actually for patient satisfaction. Merely it focuses on the patient itself. So for patient safety, the measures, what are the measures that needed for patient satisfaction, indicators for patient satisfaction, and goals for patient satisfaction. So quality merely focus on the patient satisfaction. So for patient satisfaction, if you can see in the middle is the patient. Outside of it, there's an OR team, emergency department, ward and floor nurses, and other departments. CSSD is one of the healthcare team, together with those um, shown in the diagram. CSSD are included since every delivery of services, especially in OR, emergency department, ward floor nurses, and other departments are affected if ever the quality of product or services delivered by CSSD is not on good quality, or it can compromise the quality or it can compromise the safety of the patient. even you have the best doctor, the best surgeon, the best physician, the best nurses, if ever the CSST fails, the next team will follow. They will also fail. So for patient satisfaction, delivery of services as expected, to avoid any harm and injury to patient, the quality in each department cannot be achieved if CSST itself did not deliver safe instruments for the patient. So we need to provide the correct cleaning process, checking the instrument functionality before packing, ensuring the protocols and delivering instruments, and so on. So for process management, it is merely focused on instrument turnaround time, um, when will be the instrument will be done, how many, um, how much hours needed. So is it 2 hours, 3 hours? So instrument turnaround time should be, um, in- should you should inform also the user what is the instrument turnaround time. When did they will expect the instruments to come on their working area or on clinical area. So instrument set accuracy. If you deliver correct instruments set out, all listed instruments are in in the packaging. So for surgical case cart accuracy means all surrogate all instruments are being placed on the surgical case cart. Items are fully packed. No items are missing. So that's one of your process management. And inventory fill rates. Inventory fill rates for process management, you need to check if ever your stocks are in acceptable level. Okay, if you still have a remaining consumables with chemical indicators, if you are needing them, or pouches, if you still have those, that's your inventory fill rates. So for turnaround time, you need to create a specific turnaround time goal in every facility, in every procedure, either autoclave, ETO, hydrogen peroxide. You need to create a turnaround time goal. You need to discuss this with your healthcare facility team. You need to be aware what's the turnaround time goal in each processes. So for if ever they send instruments on this time, when they can expect um, the return of the, the sterile instruments. Okay, from transport to decontamination, for example, it will take 5 to 10 minutes. It depends on every facility. Um, how many instruments they process, what are the distance the, from collection, from the user or the point of use to the contamination area. You need to check regarding that one. Okay. The next is decontamination. Is there manual brushing, um, mechanical cleaning, or mechanical washer? Let's say it will take 10 to 20 minutes. Usually for decontamination, the brushing itself will take 10 to 15 minutes. Well, the mechanical cleaning process, it will take around 15 to 30 or 60 minutes. It depends uh, on the time you set. For inspection and packaging, it's let's say 10 to 30 minutes. Okay. For steam sterilization processes, it actually for steam sterilization, it actually sterilized for 45 minutes. The total process is 45 to 60, or let's say 60 to 90 minutes, for example. Okay. Transport to department. So from sterilization to storage, okay, from your storage to transport to the point of use, how many minutes it will take. So you need to create a turnaround time goal, which is, for example, for your autoclave processes, it will take 90 minutes to 160 minutes. So by that, they are expecting the instrument ever uh, within 90 minutes to 160 minutes. So empowerment. Empowerment is that action-driven process of decision making and implementation. Instead, it is always in the upper level. You are granting authority. Um, Instead of upper level authority, which is your admin department or your head of the departments, your medical director, your CSST um, director, they are given they need to empower the staff for any decision or any processes needs or needed in the department. So they are granting the authority from the upper level, they are granting the authority to the lower level. So they need to decide or whenever there's an issue within the department, we can fix it first before it will be brought up to the upper level. So by that, you are empowering your staff to decide or to decide in every situation, in every processes or protocols needed for each procedures. Okay, um, it's an implementation. Instead, that it's always the department head will decide. So you are granting authority to employees. So employees assigned to specific task areas must know all area, all work areas before we can empower them. So for leadership, usually you are CHL or Certified Healthcare Leadership under ISHAMS. So usually the leadership will be the lead technician and chief supervisor. So first line to ensure quality are adhered every time to ensure the standards and protocol are met. So they are the one, the lead technician should be the one to monitor and to remind their colleague that, hey, um, you are not wearing proper PPE while doing the decontamination. But it, it is an empowerment to your staff, which is your lead technician, to at least control and recommend or call out your colleague, okay, your CSS technician. So standard data. In CSSD or standard data, actually, it is a collection of data that needed so that you can analyze what are the problems in CSSD. Not only problems, but if data that you can check if ever your protocols are met, if the parameters are met, the standards are uh, being followed. You need that's the standard data. So we have we, in CSSD or in healthcare facility, your quality department usually use quality processes. So you are performance indicator or KPI or KPI. So that's your key performance indicator. So for key performance indicator is a type of performance measurement, whether or not you, for example, in the contamination area, whether or not these technicians wear proper PPE. Okay, So that's key performance indicator or key performance measurement. So KPI evaluates the success of organization or of a particular activity, such as project, programs, products, and other initiatives in which it engaged. So it's a process. For example, you are performing decontamination, um, inspection, packaging, and sterilization. You can set a performance indicator and guide whether what to check, whether or not their staff are complying or not. So there are samples KPI. For example, how many cases were canceled for the day due to non-availability or RMD from CSSD or returned medical devices from CSSD. Okay? So how many cases were canceled? They canceled the procedure because there are no instruments or there are delay of instruments. So how many adverse incident reports were filed by the operating theater? How many adverse incidents? There are some incidents, for example, there are damages caused by um, non-sharpened instruments. So you pouch it without checking if it is sharp or it can still cut. Okay? For your scissor or your cutter, there are quality checks need to be done before pouching them. So for those, if there are failure to comply with that, you need to check whether or not you how many times you did not comply with the checking of those instruments. So how many infection control related issues were traced to CSST processing? So we need also to check, especially your infection control nurse. They will check if there are some rising in um, infection due to surgery aided with your instruments. So the reason why there's an infection to the patient is due to the instruments. So we need to check, they need to evaluate why. For example, there are you need to check the processes you've done in CSSD. For example, you bypass the manual brushing. Okay, it automatically soaks your instruments in a mechanical cleaning. That's one issue. Or in prep and pack, you did not check the crevices of your instruments. If still there are remaining blood or there are remaining debris on the instruments, so you need to check it on a magnifying glass with light. If ever it is already clean, if not, then you need to return back the instruments to the decontamination area. Okay, that's the sample of your KPI or key performance indicator in CSSD. So in every department, especially in CSSD, there are some issues that we might face. So actually, we are encouraging a cross-functional team. If ever, usually in a meeting, there's a cross-functional team, group of employees from different departments within the healthcare facility that works together to resolve operating problems. What are the issues? What are the possible solutions? What are the protocols need to be changed or need to amend? So it should be a cross-functional team. So cross-functional team, it will came from other areas of the department, either from OR team, ER, outpatient, floor ward, CS, and quality team, or your customer relation officer or your customer relation team. You can join ever they are. It is applicable to them. So let's talk with FMEA or FMEA. For FMEA, it's predict adverse outcomes and failures to prevent future adverse outcome or to decide a specific protocols to be followed to avoid certain guidelines as per risk rating. You need to, if, especially if you receive um, uh, a device or equipment, you need to check what are the risk rating for of it. So you need to decide what protocols to be followed to avoid any adverse effect in the future. So your FMEA is failure, what, mode, effect, and analysis. So what are the potential failure needs to be addressed on this equipment, on these devices? What are the types and ways, possibilities we can um, do or take or protocols to be made? Negative effect on process understanding. What are the negative effect it can cause? Is as per the risk level, it can cause a first aid injury only, um, treatment in the hospital, loss of job, right? Analysis, study risk, and reduce it. So you need to study how you can reduce the risk. If either you will apply PPE, you will apply engineering controls, or you will change the equipment. So for root cause analysis, this is your root cause analysis. Um, you need to define the problem. Okay, what are the previous problem been encountered in your 1 year or 2020 for the year 2019, for example. So you need to collect the data. What are those? Identify possible causal factors. Identify the root causes. Who is the root cause? Why it happened? So what are the causes? So recommend and implement solution. So root cause analysis is backtracking actually. It's already been happened as per incident report, okay, or investigation report to check and analyze the root cause and how to prevent it from reoccurring so that we can avoid any reoccurrence of any incidents happened before. For example, there's a skin burn happened with those devices. What are the protocols or procedures being implemented since then it happened? We put protective PPE or heat resistant gloves, for example. So we need to check the root cause analysis will check the previous problem to implement protocols and procedures. So for Lean Six Sigma or Lean Six Sigma, for Lean guys, use the PDCA, okay? The PDCA method and tools like A2, WASTE, and 5S to achieve continuous improvement. For your 5S is actually your sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Your PDCA is plan, you need to plan, you need to do, you need to check, and act on it. So that's your PDCA and 5S. Plus your Six Sigma, which is your Six Sigma is the DNAIC or the make or the other one which is or DNAIC or DNA-DVC. So that's the two common Six Sigma. So for your Six Sigma uses the DNAIC methods and tools like control charts and FMEA to achieve continuous improvement. For your FMEA, we already discussed it. Your failure mode effect and analysis. Your DMAIC is your define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So you need to define the problem, measure, quantify the problem. So how many times it happened? So the next is analyze. You need to analyze and identify the cause of the problem, why it happened. Because it's they bypass a procedure, no PPE. Um, Next is you need to improve, implement, and verify the solution. You need, if there's an incident, you need to improve and implement. You need to improve any or either existing protocols so that you can achieve a um, safe protocols to your patient and to your worker. Control, maintain the solution. If ever you already have the protocols and you already implement it, you need to maintain the solution. So you need to maintain it and you check it if ever it is working or not. So the two common processes in Six Sigma is your DMADV or to develop a DMADV, guys, is to develop new process. Okay. For your DMADV, you need to develop new process. For DMAIC, it's monitor and improve existing procedure. Okay, just remember the difference. For the DV, okay, DV develop new process. Okay, DV, DMA, DV develop. For DMIC, I improve. Okay, improve existing procedures. Lean Six Sigma leverages the best problem-solving methods to help organizations achieve their mission and satisfy customers. It's either you will need to combine the Lean in Six Sigma to achieve the satisfaction of your customer or your client. So this is your 5S sort. 5S clean workplace. You need to sort what is necessary and discard everything else. So set in order, arranging and label only necessary items are easy use and returned by anyone. Shine, cleanliness, inspection, standardized cleaning, the states that exist when the first three pillars of S are properly maintained. Sustain and discipline, make a habit of properly maintaining and correct procedures. Then your plan, do, and act. Plan, do, check, and act. So for your FMEA, your failure mode effect and analysis, Lean Six Sigma DMAIC, you need to define the problem. You need to measure and quantify the problem. Okay, how many times it happened? What are the ratio? How many procedures and the incident happened? How many times in every procedure? Analyze, identify the cause of the problem, improve, implement, and verify the solution, and control, maintain the solution. You need to maintain and control the solution because even though there are new protocols and guidelines, there are some staff that they will not follow what is the new protocols. They are resistant to any changes will implement to every department. So you need to encourage them the reason why it needs to be improved and to maintain. So Six Sigma DMADV process, define phase, identify, define scope, plan, and project. Measure, create, and validate the measurement system for the project. Analyze, develop design concept, and final design. Design phase, develop the detailed design and control test plan. Verify and verify phase. So you need to remember, okay, for your um, for your Six Sigma and Lean Six Sigma, okay? For your for your Six Sigma and Lean Six Sigma, for your Six Sigma guys, it focus on delivering near perfect products and services. While your Lean Six Sigma, eliminating eliminating waste in the production of products. So whatever waste, whatever the procedures that are not needed, you need to eliminate it. So your Six Sigma focus in delivering near perfect product, developing and delivering actually. So we need to develop and deliver near perfect product and services while your Lean Six Sigma eliminating waste in production of products. So in quality, there are programs and standards, and there are different types of organization. You have your NCQA or measuring quality, improving healthcare. You have the Joint Commission, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, your Magnet Excellence under ANCC, your HKA HCAPS or Hospital Consumer Assessment of Healthcare Provider and System, your ISO. So for your PJC accreditation, organization by member healthcare facility, whatever your member facility, they will check whatever the quality standards on those facility as per the Joint Commission. So for your ISO 900, Actually, it's ISO 9000. It's not ISO 9000. It's ISO 9000. Okay? Maybe you will get confused. For your ISO 9000 is defined as a set of international standards on quality management and quality assurance developed to help companies effectively document the quality system elements needed to maintain efficiency, efficient quality system. So your ISO 9000 deals with fundamentals of quality management system, including the 7 quality management principles that underline the family of standards. So what are those 7 quality management principles? You have your leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, how you can improve, evidence-based practice, evidence-based decision making, relationship management, with your staff. While your HCAHPS, it, they are providing standardized survey tool to measure patient perception during hospital stay. While your ANCC or magnetized ANCC focus on quality patient care, nursing excellence, and innovation. While your CMS or Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, they are actually a government regulatory focus in healthcare quality, safety, and security. So for managing of inventory is actually it's either reusable or consumable items or supplies used to provide in within healthcare facility. It's either reusable, your instruments, consumables, or your consumed supplies or disposable supplies. Capital equipment. Capital equipment is actually an equipment. Those are very expensive and they are assets in the company such as your autoclave machine, sterilizer, washer, endoscope. So those are your capital equipment. So this is the flow of purchasing or acquiring an item. So first, purchase. Purchase is usually done by material management received in CSSB. So you need to check the expiry when you receive those equipment. You need to check the expiry. Um, some of there are some supplies, especially consumables, that are nearly expiring. So you need to return it back. You need to return it back to the store. Either they will contact the supplier for replacement or whatever the protocols in the store. But for the purchases, usually done by the material management. So you need once you receive it, you need to check the integrity of the supplies, and you need to check whether or not it is nearly expiring. Once then receive, you need to note the document expiry date. You need to document it and place in your log and arrange the product as per the date of expiry in your storage area. So you need to check also whatever the instruction in your IFU, whether or not it needs proper storage, the temperature of the storage room, the humidity level of your storage room. You need to check regarding those especially consumables item. So from purchase, receive, storage, and then dispense. So even dispense, if ever you are releasing an item, you need again to check the expiry date and especially the quality of your pouch. Okay, before or product, before you dispense it, you need to check the expiry. You need to check the integrity of the pouch before before providing it to other departments. So there are some samples of information in or material information. For example, your catalog number. This is your brand name, the description, the size of the product, the expiration date or the logo, which means expiration date, your catalog number, whatever the catalog it is, your lot number or production identifier, your storage and handling logo. For example, the umbrella with it's a logo of a rain or water, so it means you need to keep it dry. Or upper limit of temperature, there are temperature which, for example, 45 degrees Celsius. You need to store those in equipment below 35, below 45, below whatever the written in your manufacturer information. So for your two with slash mark, so it means it is only used for single use. So your label name and the manufacturer address and name and your barcode. So this is also the sample of your pouches. Okay. This one is the instruction for the instruction. This is only capable for ETO. This is your manufacturer date. This is your lot number, reference number, serial number, and expiry date. This one means it is a single use, so you cannot reuse it. This one means do not use if package is broken. If the package is broken, you cannot use it. So there are the different types of symbols. You have your lot number, manufacturing date, or there are different which is your manufacturer, use by or expiration date, caution, see instruction for use. So storage temperature, do not use if package is damaged. Sterilize using ETO, ethylene oxide, which is your written in your pouch. Follow instruction for use. SN for serial number. Prescription drug is not commonly seen in CST. Waterproof to 2.5 to for 30 minutes, which is your IPX8. Do not reuse or for single use batch code or your lot number, expiry date. Do not use if the package is open and damaged. Consult instruction for use. So we need to make it keep it dry. Protect from light and heat. Ever you have this logo. Temperature limit for storage, warehouse storage. Date of manufacture and manufacturer. Date of your manufacturer and your manufacturer. So for expiration date, there are no standard requirements where they are placed. Okay. For expiry date must always be checked before dispensing. You need to check the expiry date before releasing the instruments or releasing the consumables to other departments. So consumables are items that are disposable and items that can be consumed, while reusable items can be used multiple times. So sample of consumables is your chemical indicator, pouches, biological indicator, and your reusable pouches. Um, Sample is your rigid container, instruments, and kidney basin. There are no standard protocols in placing expiry in pouches. But if ever you are placing, usually it is advised that the expiry date should be placed on the bottom part where the opening of the nurse or the doctor. Okay. And if ever it is plastic area, you are using the label gun. You'll place it on the plastic area. The same, there's no protocol or requirements needed, but as suggested, it should be near the opening of the nurse so that once he open the package, he can easily see so the, the chemical indicator or the label or information. So there are different types of common causes of waste. So waste is actually either a loss of product or loss of financial um, loss of finances. So if ever it can cause waste on CSSD, it will add burden to your facility. Okay, they need to repurchase the product or they need to spend another money for the supply of the product. So first is expiration. Expiration is the item was used before the end of its designated shelf life. Items was lost and cannot be located. So for your expiration, for example, that's the reason why you need to supply whatever you only need and whatever the designated level of your um, whatever the designated level of your what we call this stocks. You cannot oversupply or you cannot oversupply stocks because um, it can cause if ever it is not commonly used, it can lead to expiration of the product. Okay, just a moment. So the next is contamination. So that's the reason why you need to place your consumables product and even your sterile product in a proper storage area to avoid any contamination of this product. So contamination, once it contaminated the instrument, you cannot use it. You need to reprocess it. You are wasting pouches, chemical indicator, and at the same time your time. Okay, even reusable. If ever it is contaminated, you cannot reuse it. So you are wasting the facility finances or funds. So obsolescence means um, the product is outdated. So if ever there are purchases in your facility, you need to purchase whatever the updated product. Okay, because if you are saving money, for example, today it's a year 2020, for example, and then your facility will purchase a product which is dated 2010. Possible it can be obsolete, it can be phased out, or it will. There are recommendations to remove it in your system. So you need to decide whether to purchase a new product so that um, you cannot be afraid if ever there are changes, because there are some protocols that needs to be changed, especially in safety protocols. That you need to change this because of certain hazardous issues. Okay. Next is loss. Okay. Loss means the items or the instruments you cannot locate it. Nobody declared it as lost, and you cannot locate where is the location or where the instrument went, either room 2, room 3, like that. So that's one of the causes of waste. Thief, either it is authorized or unauthorized, authorized personnel inside or outside, which is not authorized. It can cause waste if ever there are no proper monitoring, or, for example, there are some protocols that, for example, you are working in a medical center, you are provided with your initial instruments, initial stacks of instruments, then you need to check it one by one and sign a declaration that this is the instrument I received when I joined the company. So for clearance purpose, once you left the company, you need to surrender all the declared instruments. Next is distribution of supplies. Distribution of supplies is actually a moving supplies, whether it is a consumable, whether it is processed or sterilized, it is a moving supplies from decontamination to sterilization, sterilization to point of use. Okay, then from point of use to decontamination again. That is your moving supplies. So throughout the facility, generally from their storage location to the point of use. Okay, so it's either um, process, which is sterilized. Okay, sterilized item to point of use, that's moving supplies. Consumables, if you are requesting some, CSSD is actually providing some items, even not um, sterilized items. Okay, inventory replenishment and distribution system. In CSSD, it's either manual or automated or computer-generated replenishment or inventory or distribution system. It depends on what your facility adopted. So regardless of whatever your facility uses, so there are different types of distribution system and replenishment system. Let's say, for example, your PAR or periodic automated replenishment level. Your PAR, for example, this is your item, which is your GOS, chemical indicator pouch 3 by 3. Your safety stock level, which is 20. Your chemical indicator safety stock level is 50. Your pouch is 50. Your PAR level is 10. For GOS. For chemical indicator, your PAR level is 20. For pouch, it's 20. So whatever items available on hand, which is will reach the PAR level designated, they will automatically replenish. Okay? It will automatically suggest reorder of those items. For example, your stock level for GOS is 20. Your quantity of hand is 8. Okay? It is already below PAR level. So it will automatically reorder 12 pieces so that it can maintain the safety stock level. For example, your chemical indicator, you have safety stock of 50. The quantity of hand is 20. Your PAR level is 20. Then automatically it will request for an additional 30 so that you can achieve the safety stock level of your chemical indicator. For example, your pouches, 3 by 3. Your PAR level, which is 20. Okay? Quantity on hand is 30. Still, they will not reorder. The reason why, you are still above PAR level. So for PAR, actually, it's computerized system. Mostly, it is computerized. But if it is manual, it's okay. It's manual, but you will constantly monitor it manually. If it is a computerized system, you are already an automated supply replenishment system. Okay? All remove items. Once they remove the items, the computer, there's a barcode, and you will scan the barcode. Then the tracking or the computer will monitor whatever the releases of supplies. So the computer also can detect whether or not it needs to reorder or not. So that's your automated supply replenishment. For your exchange cart is your periodic automated replenishment. For your exchange cart, by the way, there are two carts. Okay, there are two carts for exchange cart. There are two carts for exchange card system. Okay, the first cart is your station cart. Which means it will be placed on ER, OR, for example, on surgical ward area. Your second cart Your next card is your duplicate card. That's your exchange card system. Your first card is station card, which is it will be stationed, it will be placed in ER, OR, DR surgical area or ward. Your second card is your duplicate card. Your duplicate card will be on your storage area. So you will change your station card. For example, you somebody uses your um, okay. For example, somebody uses the items in the exchange your station card. Okay. For example, this is already been used. It's already been used. Okay. For exchange card system, your duplicate card, okay, your first card is your station card. Your second card is your um, duplicate card. So they are identical. Actually, they are both identical. Whatever the content of the first card, the same content with the second card. Okay. If ever the station card already used, the items are already used, then as per policy, either your time or designated time, you need to remove it. Then you will remove this one. You need to remove the whole cart. You need to remove the whole cart if it is already been used, for example, and replace with the duplicate cart. Okay, your duplicate cart will be sent to station. Your duplicate cart will be stationed in ER, OR, BR, or ward, depends. Then your station cart, for example, your station cart from the area, it will be go back to the storage area for replenishment. They need to put some items, sterile items, and store it so it will be automatically ready. You need to replenish it so that once the duplicate card, which is stationed in ER, will be used, then you need to remove the duplicate card and replace the station card. So that's the exchange card system. So replenishment method that involves exchange of freshly filled supply card on a user. This is a system use of two cards, station card and duplicate card. So for your requisition, it's either online or manual. So there are some facility that they are using manual form. So there are form that they need to write, for example, GOS, chemical indicator, how many quantity, 5 quantity, 10 quantity, like that. That's your manual. Your requisition is already a computer based that you need to request whatever product and you need to send it and it will go directly to the store for issuance of the item. So, so the requisition is actually done by the user of each department. CSST, it's done by the CSST technician. For nurses in OR, they are be the one to do the requisition. Specialty item used for a certain surgical procedure that needs specialty item. So there are times that it is not commonly um, used, but in some cases, we need a specialty item. If ever there are need of specialty item, there are supposedly be readily available specialty item. So there are times certain procedures, for example, cardio, heart surgery, there are certain procedure items or equipment needed. It should be requested and it should be readily available with every specialty item in every facility. For your case card system, for your case card system, your case card system is actually used for each specific procedure. So whatever procedure scheduled in OR, it is your case card system. Usually, your case card or your supplies or your instruments, it is delivered a day or night before the procedure. So there are some that preference card and pick list should be used because there are times your doctor or your physician, your surgeon need some instruments aside in the case set. So there are times that your doctor needs an instruments aside from those in case set. So they need to fill up the preference card and pick list. So for case card flow, for example, you will assemble the case card. You will send it to surgery or in the department. Then the surgery takes place. It is used already in the OR table. Then whatever unused item, it should be returned back to the storage. Whatever used item, it will be sent to decontamination room. For stat order, it's actually requiring immediate action or a fact of life. So you need to provide immediately the instruments. Okay? Preference card and pick list as per the doctor's order. So, rule of CS in inventory management. So we need to learn the process. We need to learn what is the new information of those equipment, those devices. We need to check the IFU. We need to check um, how to handle this sterile equipment, how to properly handle, because there are times that your instruments are very sensitive. So there are proper handling on those instruments. Some instruments like your endoscope, you cannot bend the wire in the endoscope because it can damage the inner channels. Reporting of concerns. You need to report any concerns. What are those concerns? Okay, what are those concerns? If ever you already have a low quantities of supplies, you are frequently outages, you have storage issue, you don't have enough storage space. That's your role in CS, in inventory management. What are the processes you need to learn? What are the identified items? How to locate the items? How to dispense the item? Okay, how to order? That's your learn the processes. Ancillary department. Okay, for ancillary department, CSSD actually supports other departments by providing instruments, disposable supplies, and equipment. So there are, for example, patient care equipment. Patient care equipment is actually a portable device to assist in the care treatment of patient. Okay, it must be safe, functional, ready to use, and free from soil and other contaminants. If ever you are providing patient care equipment, you need to disinfect this. Okay, this is not a critical instruments. So what is the disinfectant needs to be used? There are disinfectants, which is your equipment disinfectant. What are those? disinfectants needs to be used in patient care equipment. For your patient care equipment, you need to at least low-level disinfectant, which is your chlorine, iodophors, phenolics. What else? Alcohol. Alcohol is your one of the commonly used in disinfectant in um, hospitals, medical centers. But the problem with alcohol is that the contact time, because it will easily dry, it will easily evaporate. So at least 5 minutes contact time if you're using alcohol. And uh, what else? Your low level disinfectant, your quaternary ammonium. Okay, so there's no issue again if you will use high level disinfectant, especially wipes or spray, on your patient care equipment. Okay, so what are those your high level disinfectant? You have your glutaraldehyde, you have your orthotaldehyde, you have your phenolics, no, not phenolics, parasitic acid, and your um, hydrogen peroxide. So those are your low level and high level disinfectant. High level disinfectant. So you need to read also the IFU before using those disinfectant in your patient care equipment. If it is compatible or not. Because there are times that your disinfectant can weaken any wirings. Okay. Biomedical engineering or biomed department. So your biomedical engineer is the department will responsible for performing safety inspection and function tests on medical equipment. Okay? So if ever you are sending um, damaged instruments that needs a repair, that needs for checking, you need to disinfect it before sending to biomedical engineer for safe for repair. Okay? You need to disinfect before transporting it to biomed. Okay, so even new equipment and equipment from repair, it is the responsibility of your biomedical engineer. If it is new equipment issued or it is used equipment, then it is a responsibility of your biomed engineer um, for the checking before dispensing it to the department, before giving it to CSST. Okay. Um, the, what else for regarding biomedical engineer? For biomedical engineers, you need to make sure also that once you receive the equipment, new equipment, you need to disinfect it. You cannot receive an instrument or equipment which no decontamination or not disinfected. Okay. Plan preventive maintenance. This is the work of your biomedical engineer. PPM or plan with preventive maintenance is actually an inspection of your equipment. It is a inspection and checking of annual checking of your instruments by detecting and correcting failures before they occur. Some facility they have yearly PPM. Some they have biannual, so it depends on the facility, but usually at least a year. So for repair equipment, so procedures used to return equipment to proper operating conditions after it has become inoperative. If ever there are instruments that been repaired, then it should be checked by the biomed before it will be delivered to the department. So, for example, I just want to give some samples with the protocols. For example, your autoclave Bowie and Dick test fails. Okay, if your Bowie and Dick test failed or your biological test failed, you cannot send automatically the machine to biomedical engineer. Okay? You need to repeat the Bowie and Dick test 3 times. You need to repeat the biological test 3 times. So once you confirm it 3 times, and then um, for autoclave, you need to do the vacuum test also 3 times. So before sending the equipment to biomedical engineer, you need to check first on your part um, those parameters before sending, and decontaminate your machine, remove any liquids, okay, and send it for repair. You need to issue a decontamination certificate that this item is not exposed with blood. Then once the repair equipment return to the facility, the biomedical engineer already checked it and endorsed it to you. You need to check 3 times again before starting with the total procedures. For example, your autoclave machine, you received it from repair. You need to do 3 times by Bowie and Dick, test, 3 times vacuum test, 3 times for your biological test before using the machine in sterilization process. Soil equipment should be picked and cleaned routinely. For soil equipment, okay, it's either it depends. It's either the user will send it to the facility, decontamination room, or the CSST technician will take it in the point of use. So should be picked and cleaned routinely. For your soil equipment, that's for your for your soil equipment, um, it should be picked and cleaned routinely. Especially there are devices that commonly used in medical centers or hospitals. That says your IV infusion pump, your enteral feeding pump, your suction machine. It is still the responsibility of CSSD to decontaminate those equipment routinely. So it's the same with case cart. You need to remove and replace it with if they are needing those equipment. So you need to remove it routinely for decontamination, at least um, weekly or 2 times a day. But the instruction for decontamination or disinfection, you can actually ask the nurses to do it. So the problem of soil equipment is that if you are cleaning, it needs more manpower. Okay, more CSSD technician, because you are some of your CSSD technician will do the process of instrument cleaning. There are CSSD technician that will be the responsible persons in dispensing. There are some CSSD technician that will be um, taking soil equipment. So you need to check routinely any soil equipment. So loan equipment is from the term loan. It is actually been borrowed. Okay, so actually it's been cut, but it should be processed once received. Even the loan equipment is already sterilized, you need to reprocess it because you don't know when, where it went, your loan equipment, or what are the protocols um, in the loan company or loan provider, loan equipment provider, you don't know. So as per your protocols, you should process the loan equipment once you receive it. Guys, actually, for for exam questions, I cut it and deliver a specific exam questions on different date so that we are not overloaded with uh, too much discussion. So the lecture for today is already done. It is covered chapter 18 to 20, I think. Chapter 21 to 24 will be on Wednesday. So chapter 20, yes or no? Chapter 21 to 24, we will open new schedule on Wednesday. So we can finish the whole program on Wednesday. And on Saturday, I will open again new schedule for plainly practice exams. So I will give um, rationalization for at least two sets, which is 200 items question on Saturday. So guys, before I will end, I will just give some announcement. Please answer chapter 1 to 6 now. For chapter 5 and 6, we added new questions with chapter 5 and 6. But for chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, we cannot add some questions. So we decided to add more set of questions, which is it will be chapter 1, progress 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, plus 2 mockboard exam. Your 2 mockboard exam will be plainly multiple choice answer, multiple choice questions on the reference of eShams. So we need to check and test whether or not you have already the basic knowledge to undergo the exam. So answer progress 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think we already activated the exam questions. It, I think you can already um, saw or see the wrong answers and rationalizations. So for answer chapter 1, I progress 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, and we will open new two questions, Backboard 1 and Backboard 2. So it will be there will be a total of 8 questions, 8 sets of exam. For your um, for your final exam with Purdue, because there is button there is a category in your Purdue account for final exam. I already sent an email to Purdue. I think there's a form. I will send the form to you so that I can submit it to Purdue for to request the final exam because we cannot open the final exam without the authorization of Purdue University. So let's meet again on Wednesday, February 26th, for the final uh, review of chapter 21 to chapter 24. Do you have any question, guys?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, hello, Asim.
I have a question regarding the progress test 6.
Mhm.
This progress test is a includes all the chapters that we have gone through so far. I mean, from 1 to 24. Or it's about, yeah, that's my question.
Yeah. Um, the chapter, the chapter, the progress test 6 and progress test 5 actually contains a question from chapter 1 to 24. So that's the reason why we asked you to answer it on the last part where you already finished the whole program or whole readings in your book because your chapter progress test 5 and 6 contains questions from chapter 1 to chapter 24, and the additional two questions will be set, I think, this week for backboard 1 and backboard 2. It will be 200 items each. It is also covered from chapter 1 to 24. Do you have any skill question?
Hello, sir.
Hello, Wasim, you have another question? Regarding Wednesday, I think I will start for Wednesday. I will start 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. So
ये और एक पानी का बोतल दो.
for this coming Wednesday, yes, it's that's a lecture covering chapter. It's a summary only covering chapter 21 to 24. It's only a short, actually, for this topic, for quality assurance and some topics. I'm not saying it is important, but it only covers a little part of the exam. So I'm not more focused on those exams, but I'm more focused on your test taking strategy. So I will be um, checking your um, chapter 5 and 6 if you already answered that one, because you need to be tested with your test taking strategy. So I'm more on um, adding more schedule for your practice questions, practice exams on Saturday. So the Wednesday is chapter 21 to 24, and Saturday will be practice exams. So Saturday, I think we will start by um, 8, no, we will start by 10 a.m. to 12, and then 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So I need to check if we can overload those questions on the same day because it's a 200 items exam. So we need to check if ever you are available on that day. You need to check if you are um, really knew how to eliminate questions, and underline important details in questions, and eliminate options. Do you still have questions? For progress tests, actually, we are suggesting to take at least have um, to benchmark your score at least 80%. That is the safe goal we need to comply at least 80%, because 70% it is one of the requirement I think in ESHAMS, because there's no specific passing rate. That's the reason why we increase it to 80%. At least 80%, it is a safe level for us, for you guys to we can decide if ever you are ready to take exams. Yeah, if ever you already got 80%, no need to retake the exam. As long as if ever you want to retake it, there's no issue if you want to retake it, because that's your the progress test, especially the mock board that coming to be open this week. It will be your practice exam. So you need to practice yourself how to eliminate, how to get a detailed questions and eliminate options. So do you have still any questions, Wasim, Madam Marie? Okay, I think I need to end the lecture for today. Thank you guys, and see you on Wednesday at around 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 12. I'm so sorry. I Wednesday at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay. Thank you guys, and see you on Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. How much it? Give that. Ma'am.